Tribe, welcome to a Syndicate Talks Season 2, Make Better Business Friends. Hello, and to YouTube land that is already live with us, welcome back once more for the next installment in Season 2, and we're screaming into the tail end of 2020. In fact, it is December 15th, so I got a Christmas tree over my corner. Why? I always want a little bit of happiness in my life while I do business and I bring it to you guys. So today you're going to be hearing from myself, from Ben, and our other partner Ali should be joining us off of Syndicate, not to talk about all the cool stuff we do inside of Syndicate, but to talk about the way Syndicate works. And why does it work? Because it talks about an intrinsic or absolutely necessary value for success in business, which is your network. So for our live audience that is now, or whoever comes to see this video later in the future, for the little panel of guests that we've got today with us live already, you can play along at home, you can write some notes, but I want you to think about something very important first, and this is paraphrasing a common phrase now in business. Your network is your net worth. If you've ever heard that, give yourself a check mark, give yourself a little checkbox already. If you haven't, write it down. Your network is your net worth. Because when we look time and again, predicated education-wise, on what consistently leads to success in business, time and again, over and over and over again, we find that people's investment in their network, on top of paying attention to their cash flow, right? Being able to drive and manufacture sales. More importantly, being very shrewd with the way they equate the value of their time. Now, having good control over your time, managing and measuring your cash, the actual money you've got, being able to create and drive sales, marketing, brand recognition, and the value of the people around you are four cornerstones that always lead to success. The most successful people in the world, the most successful people in business, the most successful people in any facet of life will talk about how they were surrounded or had the right partnerships and relationships, how they took calculated risks, but how they knew the value, how far their resources would go, how they were able to generate, manufacture, or create more abundance, more wealth for themselves. And of course, always equated the value of their time invested as part of their returns. Now, people that extend or continue to satisfy, realize immeasurable success, and that is not just money, recognition, fame, satisfaction, life worth, etc., all can be equated to how well we do in all four of these areas. So today, we want to focus on the relationships, the people around you. If you invest in people the same way you invest in stocks, you're going to fail. Now, Mitch, didn't you just tell me we should invest in people? I'm going to get input from my partner here shortly. Yes. Why? We make emotional decisions. When we make emotional decisions with our money and we choose to invest in stocks and bonds and funds, etc., and we don't take the time to assess what we really want, what we're willing to risk, what our expectation, what our outcome, what we're working towards long term, then will that investment at the front end give us what we want, what we expect? No, likely not. If we don't know what the expectation of what we should be achieving will be realized, then our investment of money is going to be successful. What? Why? How? If we don't measure our expectation when we are selling our services, our marketing services, in other words, what do we have to make? How often do we have to make it? How many people do we need to talk to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? How do we know we've achieved success when it comes to sales? If we don't have an expectation for the value of our time, knowing that we are investing our time to the highest order of good in the areas, people, activities, or resources that are going to yield the most, and to take things that, while important, are not the most important for our time to be focused on, how do we in turn maximize that? So developing an organization, and I'm going to get Ben to talk here very shortly, my partner in crime, about the nature of the relationships that we choose to invest in as well. But more importantly, knowing and having an expectation for what that return should be allows us to do the same thing when we look at the people we surround ourselves with and to equate a return on investment. Because understand that there are other people in your life right now that are equating a return on their investment when they invest time and energy and resources in you. So it pays to know what you're working towards and the nature in which you do that. Now, with an organization like Cyndicate, a lovely start to our year has created a wealth of abundance for now, and dozens and hundreds of business owners connected with over the course of the year, and an ongoing organization that continues to attract more of them and continues to multiply in size. But it doesn't happen because we're only spend our time measuring the bottom dollar. We started at the front end by equating what was going to be the outcome of value, what was going to be the thing that people got when they joined us, and what did we expect from them to participate with us. When it comes to investing in relationships, do you know what you need out of the relationships around you in life? And have you been articulate in getting after it to make that part of what you earn? Ben, it has been a journey with you, brother. It's always great to see you and have you come in and join me today. Thank you very much. I'm going to put the screen on you for a moment, but buddy, let me ask you, brother, throughout everything that we've watched over the last year and joining Cyndicate, founding Cyndicate, working with Cyndicate, investing in these people's lives, brother, making better business friends, what has this year meant for you?
Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate the intro. And yeah, it has been quite a journey from late last year to now. I mean, the world has changed, really, right? So, we find ourselves in a unique position where um, we live in a world where people have to connect virtually. And, I think we're doing pretty darn good at that. But it started way before then, even for me. Networking has been something that I haven't always welcomed. As a younger person, I've been fairly introverted. So when I was younger, it was always, I don't really need anyone. I can do this all myself. Well, that hasn't worked out well in previous years. So where I am now is at a place where, I really enjoy being with people, talking, making conversation. So what I've done is I've made it a bit more intimate. So I prioritize my one-on-ones, things like that. And that's where I find the most value in my networking.
So if I can, I'm going to set the table for everybody that's on the call for a moment, and for you, of course, while we're having really this conversation in spades, amongst witnesses, if you will, so they can enjoy passively or even actively, because the peanut gallery is, of course, welcome to chime in too. When we started the path of Cyndicate, and so to use, yes, our organization, but when you think about developing anything to do with the people around you, your proximate circle, there was the people that are closest to you, and then those people from a mentorship perspective can teach you. We set out with an idea or an ideal even to give people a different environment, a different look and feel. But that is largely a product of us being very hungry for something we didn't find. So when we got specific with what was going on in Cyndicate and to be able to develop some of this, it has to have equated to you at some point, not just because we're the people that started it, but with an organization, how when you're specific about what you want or what you need, or being able to specify the way you want a relationship to work, or who you need as a resource in your life, or what you expect the dynamic of that relationship to be, how much more specific we get, that we should be taking the time to, program our expectation or the result in the way we're going to invest in relationships. So with that in mind, what do you think about the nature of any organization or any group of people, or we'll take what is there, 6 of us live on this call right now, and I'm sure some more will come and drop it. 7 of us live on this call right now. More could pop in later. If we just decide to all talk and we're all business owners, I mean, at the surface, that would equate to likely the potential for us to, I don't know, do more business if all we want to do is make money. But if what we want to do is make money, if we can get more specific and more articulate for a moment, what if I need something from somebody? Because right now, as I look here, I see a financial advisor, I see a business coach, I see a marketing representative, I see an accountant, a bookkeeper, and I see a software and an IP engineer, all here on this call live right now. My brain goes, how do I get everything I can out of all of them? But what do I have to put back in? Now that's fairly broad. But if I ask Ben, what do you want out of this group of entrepreneurs? What do we want to accomplish with them in 90 days? What do we want them to take away for themselves? Because after all, the nature of our relationships only come about and only work successfully because we articulate at the front end what we want. And now if we just want to trade money, great. Okay, for the next 15 minutes, everybody turn on your cameras and your microphones and tell me what you need to make money. And if one of us can use it, great. But that's not nearly broad enough. And I think we're smarter animals than that. And most people, when they think about their networks, don't think any more than how do I make a buck? Well, we got more specific. So in your mind, what did more specific look like? What does more specific look like for you? And what do you see as just the 7 of us on this call being able to equate to value? Because it can't just be money. What do you want out of the relationship?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Good question, Mitch. It's interesting to see where I come from in my background. Going from as an alcoholic and an addict, going from a user of people to the other side of the coin, where I want to be able to give back and create a community that is supportive of each other, and really for me, what I'm looking for out of the community, personally, is building relationships of people that I can count on. Business wise, referral here or there is great, as we all need to make money. But at the end of the day, what is it that I can give back to the community, and what can I do to support all its members in what skills that I bring, what wisdom and what knowledge I bring? How does that help grow the community?
Absolutely. Wes, thank you. And Ben, I'll apologize by saying I definitely put you on the spot for a quick moment, but knowing that answers were going to come regardless whether it was Ben or whether it was Wes, etc. Now, let me set the table for everybody here on this. This is more interview style than it is education style. And Wes, thanks for jumping in, and I expect to hear from everybody else here over the next little bit. Let me set the table now by saying, making better business friends. I've deliberately not given more information to start this syndicate talk because it is the nature of human beings to not think through exactly what we're going to do. If I show up for a syndicate talk and I'm going to talk about making better business friends, and I give some high-minded ideals or lip service, and that's what I'm going to call the first 11 minutes that I've talked and put my business partner Ben on the spot as a relation, as an example of how we do not articulate well enough our expectations even inside of our own relationships. So let me reset this whole conversation for a moment by putting my business partner on the spot and getting another one of my partners and friends inside a syndicate to jump in and provide some very personal context. Making better business friends, or making better friends in life, or having better relationships at home. Again, proximity and mentorship means what? Proximity means the people that are closest to you, and mentorship means people that can teach you to do things you don't know how to do or don't want to do. And to equate to Ben for a moment, I didn't see a purpose, and I'm paraphrasing, in networking. It's like, I'll just figure it out myself. There's elements in there from a personal side of things as well as from a professional side, and then from Ben's own aptitude, attitude, and ability that dictates that it's much easier for him just to decide to do it himself instead of everywhere else. When we take an opportunity, and not because it's indicative of Ben or Wes or anybody else in the world to think of, if I start with business relationships, I want to surround myself with good people. Okay, there's a good word for it. I want to surround myself with successful people. Okay, but what do the words good and successful mean? I don't know. What does good and successful equate to my head? What should good and successful people look like? What do supportive people look like? Wes came on and articulated, a personal statement and story for a moment to say that he came from a background where addiction is still an ongoing issue. Addiction doesn't go away. So when he surrounds himself with good people, he wants people with a similar mindset, a similar outlook, a similar idea. So when I want to establish the frame of reference for any organization, for the collection of the 7 of us on this call right now, it pays for me to let you know what to expect from me ahead of time. So if I want to add you collectively to my proximate circle, I want to make better business friends. Jerry and Ben and Wes and Shannon and Kathy and Greg, of course, is on here. He's just off screen in the next tab over. When you come to here, know that I'm going to put all into the middle. I want us to talk about our businesses in a really set and structured way. I'm going to tell you exactly what I need and I want, and what I need for you to support that. And I want you to give me the same information in return. Changing the frame of the context of this conversation starts to establish something that we are actually deliberately terrible at in all of our relationships in our lives, which is saying at the front end what we're going to offer, and secondly, what we're asking for in return. So to develop and attract proximity, and I'll get everybody else to start talking about this in a moment, very first thing I have to do is I have to tell you what to expect from me. I have to be specific in what I want. It's very selfish, but I have to be very selfish to be very selfless in return. And then from there, I can say, hey, if you can come in and you can help with this, how do I help you? I can think of this, but what do you want or what do you need from me? So from a surface perspective to start with, for any organization, for any body, for any group, or for you individually to say, well, Mitch, how the hell is that going to help me make a business friend that's going to mean I need more money? I just got to make more money. If I don't make more sales, I'm screwed. I can't make my mortgage payment. Are you articulate with every person you come in contact with, saying, I'm looking to develop relationships where we trade business. I'm looking primarily to develop relationships with partners that refer, that have deep pools and connections of contacts. I provide services like this. I help with services like that. I can refer back. I can suggest. In other words, what do I want and need at the front end? Then what does that person, that individual, look like? And how are they going to contribute to the middle? Then in return, what are they going to get back? Because we're only going to make decisions about making better business friends if it is first in our own self-interest. So you have to provide a compelling reason on what give back means. When we look at, and again, our organization, and Ben, this is where I'm going to ask you about this for a moment. Everybody starts coming to it with the idea because we use the word network and networking, meaning, hey, come in and talk about your business. But when they show up, what we do is we set the table in a very different way to structure and foster conversation. That's a deliberate act. Imagine for a moment going to any networking meeting using the format that we do and changing the context of conversation. Well, that's just one way for us to learn more about each other's businesses. What if we change the next networking meeting inside a syndicate to be to learn more about each other's personal lives? What if we were more meticulous with our goals and dreams? What in the case of Wes, being transparent and being candid and even a little vulnerable right now? In the next time we talked about what led to addiction. The moment Wes opens his mouth and talks about addiction, he needs to be able to trust that his ability to say it out loud right now, being broadcast live on YouTube and in a circle of 7 business network associates inside his circle of better business friends, that vulnerability isn't going to be used against him. This is the nature of what needs to be established ahead of time. And we don't think about these relationships often enough. And when we don't equate that to proximity, in other words, just the circle of people we keep around us, articulating what we need to learn or what we need in resources back, in other words, mentorship inside of making better business friends, how can we articulate what it is we really need to learn or what we have to get our hands on? So Ben, if we look at the past year and with the people we've got on this call, and you have to think of that just from yourself, personal side of things. And Wes, thanks for sharing personally. Proximity and mentorship. Has it given you an opportunity to be really specific for yourself? And what do you see evolving? Because you're sitting at the helm of this organization too. So what do you see as coming next, as adding to the whole out of this? And what are your expectations? Because once more, if we don't tell people out loud what our expectations are, how do we get what we want?
Yeah, and just being a part of Cyndicate over the last year has made me a bit more, I guess, open-minded for some of these conversations that need to take place, because we all are looking for something. We all have gaps in what we're doing that we need to fill. What I've learned through Cyndicate in our meetings and our talks and our membership is that people have a huge desire to connect, to grow personally through that experience, not just for their businesses as well. So, many of us even just want to have more friends, right? We have people that aren't seeing very many other people right now. So, you can't even see your own friends at this moment. So we're making new relationships, both business and personal, which is really, really nice to see.
I've got some points to make now, because we're going to take the last half of our event today and structure this a certain way, but I'm going to ask for feedback again. So Jerry, Wes, Kathy, Greg, I've got you guys on here right now. So let me put you on the spot real quick. You've come into this. Have you been able to articulate coming into this? And again, this is very Cyndicate centric. Well, this is the Cyndicate team, right? We're here and we're having a discussion. Have you come in right now and first of all, you've had an expectation? Secondly, have you made sure to articulate it? And third, are you getting back what you want out of it? Let me ask very directly, right?
You want me to, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
I've just joined a little while ago and I haven't utilized this properly. This is our only real lifeline right now as far as networking, but I like the value I'm getting from this. So I need to get in touch with people more often and do some more one-to-ones. And that's on my notes to do as well, because there's a lot of cool people I'm seeing on here. And some people I know Mitch and a few guys from the past, and most people I don't know. So I need to utilize this better. As far as getting what I expected, yeah, I just have to put more into it. So it's my bad. I don't know if I articulated that properly. Mitch, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, Jerry, absolutely. And not even in my bad moment, but just the fact that, hey, you know what? You're going to get what you put into it, right? Absolutely. Yep. Kathy, any thoughts to add?
Yeah, I mean, it truly is. If you put in the energy and the effort, you're going to see feedback and response, right? You get into it, what you put, or you get out of it, what you put into it. But I think for a lot of people, it's a new world and they're not sure how to do it properly. And I think guidance needs to be provided. Go forward and do one-by-ones. Means what for a lot of people? They have no clue what a one-to-one is. What are you doing? How do I set this up? Because it's something that they've never had to do. I mean, I run a virtual business. It makes sense to me because I don't meet people face to face. But for a lot of people who were used to the handshake, let's meet, let's go for coffee. This is a whole new kind of world. And I think we need to provide guidance to these individuals so that they can really understand, because this is not going away anytime soon. It is the future of business.
There we go. Now, Kathy, thank you very much. And what a wonderful way to articulate that. Because when we talk about expectations, when we talk about what, and I'm just going to, here we go. When we talk about our expectations ahead of time, there we go. If you don't know something and you don't even know what the question is to ask, how are you supposed to do it? What are we supposed to do inside of our proximate mentorship circle? What are we supposed to do to make better business friends? So let's give you a playbook. I talked about being at a little more interview style, and now let's talk about this instructively for everybody coming in for a moment. inside of every relationship in life, inside of everything we want to do, there's a couple of criteria we have. There is a personal want and a personal need. So everything we do in life, we have to satisfy a personal want and a personal need. Okay. So there's our self, first of all. Secondly, there's what is around us. So call it our professional life. What makes us better at our job. Call it that. We're talking about making better business friends. And then third, around that is another circle or another sphere, which is our business, our identity, our professional practice. So when we look to make better business friends, when we look to make investments, and I'm making an investment right now in the 6 of us total on this call, right? 5 other people here right now. And that's to say, guys, what I'm going to put back into the middle, team, what I'm going to put into the middle is the next time you decide you want to make a friend, any friend. And I guess we can say in a pandemic, we could all use another friend. We can absolutely use another friend. What do you want and need first? What's going to satisfy the you, yourself, and you? What's going to make you whole? What's going to give you the things that you want and need? Next, the next layer, the next circle out. What's going to, in this case of businesses, make you better at your job? Satisfy the wants, needs, or inefficiencies that you've got. What are the areas that you can't, won't, or don't handle? And the third layer, and not the least important, but we always start central. If you're adding people that are intimate relationships in your life, and now let me challenge you on this thought for a moment. If anybody can take your money, give you money, or make decisions based on your money, does that sound just about as intimate as it gets? Short of sex and money, the 2 reasons that we have our personal relationships, marriages, etc., fall apart, the 2 biggest consistently. If somebody is involved in your business and they can either give you money, take away your money, or make decisions about your money, that sounds pretty intimate. So does it pay then, if I look to make better business friends, to be really articulate, really specific about what I want and need personally? What should I expect out of it? I want more friends. I want better friends. I want better relationships with my friends. I want people that I can call at any point, day and night, and talk to any of those needs and wants that I have, and feel that I can trust that it's going to A, not land on deaf ears, and B, whether there's a resolve or a resolution or a problem solved or not, at least I can be listened to. So if I start by articulating that, then my first job in life is to say, I'm looking for people that believe in this. Jerry, Wes, Greg, Shannon, Kathy, Ben. I believe that in business, these relationships that you're going to invest 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day in, much the same as your personal relationships at home. I need to be as honest as possible. And 1, I want people that are going to help pick me up when I have a bad day. And 2, I want people that I can help in turn have the same thing. Is that cool? Can we all meet together from that perspective? If so, then what is the likelihood I'm going to attract that? Or find people that are at least willing to give it a try a little more in the middle, more quickly. Secondly, when I move to that second circle outside of me, professional, in other words, what I uniquely do in a given day, business friends. Well, I'm a business coach, but I can't do everything for my business. I know how to, but I can't. I need accountants, and I need bookkeepers, and I need lawyers, and I need marketing partners, and I occasionally need salespeople. And even though I help people with it, I need people with HR, etc. Every one of the other businesses, and a couple of guys had to bounce off real quick. They got meetings to go to. Guess what? They had shown up. They did what I asked or what was expected. Show up, wave the flag, answer some questions. Now they're moving on to business. If I ask everybody here, each one has a different set of needs that satisfies them professionally, stuff that they have to get done. If I articulate that to you, what is the likelihood either you can or you're able to refer to somebody that can make that happen, or in turn bring somebody else in? So if I start from the beginning, hey, Kathy, hey, Ben, hey, Greg, hey, Shannon, I'm looking to surround myself with good people that are willing to admit they don't have all the answers, that want to work together collectively, that are okay with leveraging their businesses into the middle. And the moment they have a need for something, everybody's going to try and help. How does that sound? And if we're willing to do that, whatever you tell me you need, to the best of my ability, I'm going to try and help or find it for you. I expect the same in return. Can we meet together? Can we break bread even digitally and do that? You make a decision based off of that value, whether it matches for you. So selfishly, I can tell you what I need and what I want in life. Selfishly, you can make a decision if it matches what you've got. And the moment you find a match or a pair between those two, Now you've created a bigger than the sum of the whole. Meaning that from a personal perspective, if I add Kathy and Ben and Greg and Shannon into that circle, the likelihood of the 5 of us being able to do more than one of us alone starts to increase. And then professionally, hey, I'm going to need help with a few different things. Can you help me? Well, I know that Kathy runs an accounting and bookkeeping practice. That might have value to me. That might have value to my business. That might have value to me personally. Professionally, it might satisfy some needs. By articulating that I am looking regularly for accountants and bookkeepers and other people like that to partner with, work with, etc. That means that I can say it, and now Kathy knows whether or not I'm valuable to her from the front end. And in turn, she can tell me the same, and Ben can tell me the same, and Greg can tell me the same. So we always start when we look to add to our own circle. Now let's talk about the way relationships are formed for a moment. Relationships at the beginning, and I'm going to talk personal relationships for a moment, because the other person makes us happy. Given time, we start to derive satisfaction because when we do something deliberate to make them happy and they get happy because of it, that sets off the fireworks in our brain and it adds the happy juice to us. And then over time, we develop a relationship where the rough edges and the spots where we have to impress amongst each other. And I'm talking about spouses and long-term relationships and that. We're away in favor of familiarity, comfortability, so that we know what to expect from each other. We know exactly how we're going to be cared for, loved, nurtured, etc. The same thing happens inside of a business relationship. In the beginning, I need to tell you what I want. I want what I want first. But it doesn't take very long for me, if I start getting what I want, to look and say, what can I do to make you happy? At the moment I make you happy, that makes me feel good. So if I start with what I want personally and I move out to what do I want and need just to make me better at what I'm doing in my business relationships, and then what does my business need to continue to develop, foster, grow, get out of trouble, etc. When I look and I'm articulate with that, and when I continue to tell the people around me, I am building the case for other people that view things similar to me, not the same, but similar to me, so that we have common ground. And when we create common ground, now we can start to add proximately and from a mentorship perspective. If I know people have similar values, goals, and ideas, then when they know something I don't know, it's okay for me vulnerably to say, hey, Kathy, hey, Ben, I don't know how to do something very well, whether it's professional, my business has a deficiency, something's broken, doesn't work right, or personally, I really need this because I'm in a bad spot. The ability to trust that they can help me with something that I'm not so good at increases. When I can make direct asks that satisfy any of those things, and I don't have time and opportunity to solve for myself, that's where proximity, the circle of people that you can leverage in the form of resources, time, energy, intelligence, etc. You start to make better investments in. And then the whole circle around that self at the center, professional development, and then your business equates the 4th circle, which is where the relationships that you develop start to add to the whole. So if I can use Cyndicate for the Cyndicate members that are on this call for a moment. The start of Cyndicate came about because of an idea. And that idea is we just want to put business owners together in a room where they can talk about their business in a way that's very different, where they get to know each other much more quickly, and where the nature of the investment isn't fixated on money first. Because when you remove money from the equation, actually people make more. When they invest in relationships and they invest in what they're good at to put into the middle, everybody gets to extract to the whole and everybody becomes better for it. It is the finest in social engineering that I could figure out to say, let's put 20 or 40 or 50 or 100 or 200 business owners in a room and give them a really specific way to talk to each other. Because when you change something from what we expect, in other words, in business, it's all about the money. No. In business, it's all about the relationship. In business, it's all about the way we structure things. The people that continue to be successful time and again and make more money than other people have their professional and their business resources, that 2nd and 3rd circle, there's you at the middle, and their professional and business resources maximized, and they work efficiently. For themselves, they're very specific on what they need and want out of life. And when you look at that fourth circle, so we've got the self as the first circle, your professional development is the second circle, your business is the third circle, and then the fourth circle, the big one, is proximity and mentorship. In other words, your business friends and relationships. They know what they need and want to add and the value that they have to get back out and what they're willing to put into the middle. So when we had a chance to start this over, the first question to ask selfishly at the self is, what kind of room of business owners would I want to invest maybe every week for the rest of my natural life in? What would make me stay? What would make me happy in that room? Next, what is that room going to look like to give me the resources so that professionally I either stop screwing up or I get better at certain things? And then third, what's going to make the business whole? Now, when that's there, can I create it in a way so that I'm asking those people for that too, so I know what's valuable to them, and we can just lay all of our circles right on top of each other. We can just put them all together and say, hey, here's all the stuff that we share in common. Cool, who can fix what? And now it becomes this opportunity for us to trade off with each other, yes, but also to get those things that we want, but in a way invested in relationships that increases the likelihood that not only we're going to trust each other, but we're going to continue to work with each other long term. So at the front end, I made a value proposition to myself. Who are the business owners and the people I'm going to want in the room? How are they going to make me better at my job? How are they going to improve my business? And how do I keep them forever? Now that I've identified what I want, what's valuable to other people? What do they want? What do they need? To build proximity and mentorship meant that for myself and for my partner, Ben, and our other partner, Ali, we got to be deliberately selfish for a minute and go, what do we want out of life? And then we went about the act of just talking to people and saying, hey, we want to get together and we want to do this like this. And this is what we are willing to put into the middle. Do you want to come along on the journey with us? Do you want to come and join in? Because we're willing to share all of this with everybody, and everybody gets theirs. That changed the nature of the way we've invested in business relationships. So and interesting to note live on this call, and it doesn't mean everybody else wasn't here as well, but are a number of people right now that work in process-driven systems. We had a business coach and a financial planner. We got an accountant, and we've got a software engineer on here right now. And yes, we got marketing, other businesses as well, and lots of different people over there. But it's interesting to note that people that work inside of systems with money or sales or business processes or et cetera, are also the ones that tend to gravitate to these kinds of systems early on. And then for the other people, the social engineers, the salespeople of the world, they just look to make more friends, more natively and naturally. So when you can take something that is social, just getting to talk to people, and you can give it a structure and a system, you start to get an outcome. When you know what your outcome needs to be and what you want, yeah, this sounds very clinical. Guess what? You need to be clinical to make better business friends. Just like you need to be clinical if you're going to figure out how to be more profitable in your business. You have to be clinical to figure out how to save more money. You have to be clinical and have a measurement and a system if you're going to increase your sales. And you have to use a calendar, a day planner, an app. In fact, just in my screen up here right now, my Google Calendar is open and I can see everything that's going to happen for the rest of the week. All the stuff I've got to do has to go into that calendar. Why? Not because I like using a day planner or a calendar to tell me what I'm supposed to do, but it keeps me organized because I establish some expectations. How should my time work and where is the highest priority going to? When I look to invest in relationships, whether it is my spouse, my children, or my business relationships, I need to be very articulate with what I want and need. And then I need to communicate that in a way that lets people know that while I'm looking for what I need, I want to know what you need so that I can try and contribute that to the middle. When we change the way we establish relationships at the front and tell people what to expect. Then from a business perspective, making better business friends, growing our communities can begin to happen. But it pays for you to think about, for you professionally, what do you yourself need and want? What do you want out of your business needs, your goals, your outcomes, etc.? Can you articulate that in the right way? Next, what do you need to get better at your job? That professional circle, the second one. Third, the business overall. What is the business working on and working towards? And then fourth, you can add that circle, proximity and mentorship. And the reason that circle's around the outside is that once again, time and again, you at the center are going to have a money need. Professionally, you're going to have deficiencies and skills that you don't have. And your business is going to have revenue and sales and staffing issues, et cetera, that it's going to want to satisfy a need. Each one of those is going to primarily get built, if you do it the right way, by that fourth circle. There's a reason it covers around all of it. The more you invest in relationships, the faster you develop each of the pieces and parts in each one of the circles as it works towards the center, being you. If you build the circle around you, around everything, the proximate mentorship, make better business friends as a circle all the way around everything, your business and your professional abilities and you, what you want and need. Each one of those layers, each one of those circles as it moves in towards the center gets stronger faster. We often spend so much time saying, I'm the only one that can do this. And so we start from the center and work out. What I'm telling you with the formation and foundation of an organization like Cyndicate and many other organizations that are incredibly successful at getting people to work together, whether it's businesses, associations, ideas, masterminds, et cetera, think tanks, they start from the outside and work in. They ask you to articulate what you want and need. And then it starts from the outside by surrounding you with people. And then you start to develop those relationships. So for you to succeed in life and to maximize what you want, and heck, come and join us at Cyndicate, and we'll see if it's a fit for you as well. But to maximize that, we need to know what we expect from ourselves first. Then we need to know what's going to make us better at what we do or what we're not so good at. We need to know what we have to do from a business perspective, because the moment we can articulate that, adding that circle around the outside becomes crystal clear. And then we know what resources, what people we have to add. And make no mistake, people in your business life, in your business proximate circle, your business friends are resources. Just know that in personal relationships, and there's nothing more personal than when it comes to money, the expectation is for you to return. If you tell people at the front end what you're looking for and what you want and what they can expect in return, then the investment in those relationships is going to start to increase and magnify, and then you'll attract more. The average business social circle or the business proximate circle is 3 to 5 people. Incredibly successful people leverage their entire lives on a number of people you can count on one hand. Imagine when you articulate that for a moment and you add 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 people. Because this is what's at stake right now. We're in, and to go to Kathy and Ben and other dialogue, and this is December. I've already said it's December 15th of 2020. We're shooting this. So we all know what's going on in the world right now. And for future generations, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube 3.0 in 50 years, this year was a gong show. But for the people that invested in relationships first while hunting for money, funny enough, they tend to be the businesses and the individuals that are thriving, staying stable, or continuing to move and grow. And for those of us that may be more challenged or are getting the ever-living crap beat out of us, it makes the blows not so tough because you have other people to leverage and help hold you up. So in the marketplace that we're in right now, Greg, give me one moment, please. The marketplace we're in right now, the biggest investment you can make is in other relationships. So inside of Cyndicate, we chose to invest in relationships with a really specific goal, to give business owners a place to come, to meet each other under a very different set of circumstances, to change the way they trade information, do business because of it. Fast. And because of that, business started to evolve and change in turn. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wanting to add a little personal note to this, and I see Syndicate to be the same way. I'm just new with, as you know, you and I just met recently, but I had the fortune of growing up as a athlete that I ski raced, and you really do have a personal goal when you're a ski racer, as opposed to a soccer player, for example. A ski racer really has their own goal, and whether it's a short goal or whether it's to win that particular race, but you have the coach, and really you have your network, which is your team and people on other teams as well. So I was a member of my local team, but I was really close friends with a lot of people from other teams, and I see this to be very similar, because what we find sometimes, as you well know, is a lot of times you do ask for tips and you do have the coaching directly, but a lot of the things that happen are very serendipitous, and they come when you're not expecting them. We have those people that are older on the team that we look up to and admire, and sometimes they come up and they give you a tip that you couldn't read about, you couldn't learn about directly, you couldn't come up with on your own necessarily, but it helps you immensely. And I think this network is very similar to that sort of an environment where people are all helping each other, and sometimes when they're asked for help, but sometimes it happens just when people notice or make a suggestion, and more of a serendipitous means of accomplishing goals.
Absolutely. Greg, thank you for that. And some of what I heard there too had to be the fact that you had a shared idea and a shared environment. It, quote unquote, might just be ski racing, but guess what? You had a sense of purpose at the beginning, what it is that you wanted individually. And then each one of those stages and steps developed out. And so the people around you were on the same mission as you. And that is my final thought for today, that when you can articulate at the front end for yourself, that first circle, the mission you're on and what it stands for and what you're looking for, and then in turn what you need to get better at what you do, and then what makes the whole work more efficiently, then you can finally articulate those people you want to attract, put inside your circle. When you have an idea on the mission, when you know what you're working towards, even if all the mechanics of what you're trying to do not work the way you wish them to do yet, more can be accomplished by people working together from a common purpose than the most well-designed mercenary function in the world. Translation. Now, I'm going to use a human resources, an HR, a human capital phrase, and this is something I learned from a mentor and friend of mine a long time ago. Culture eats strategy for breakfast, meaning that I can have the best plan in the world, but a group of people with a shared mission, shared ideals, and willing to back each other up is going to beat the living pants out of the best strategy day in and day out, hands down. Now, when you can take a group of people that are all willing to work together and then give them a fantastic plan to work with, how much more quickly does success come? Think of business success as investing in relationships first. You will make more money when you can articulate what those relationships need to look like, what you need out of them to make you better, and what you give back to them in return. The faster you do that, the more likely you are to realize whatever your goals, ambitions, and dreams are. And when it comes to money, money follows successful people, meaning that the more people you add to your proximate circle that are more successful than you, that are smarter than you, that know more than you, well, to paraphrase another adage, in a group of 6 people, if 5 are millionaires, the 6th one's likely to become a millionaire. In a group of 6 people, if 5 are authors, the 6th is likely to write a book. And in a group of 6 people where 5 are successful business owners, very likely the 6th person will be you. Learn to invest in relationships, articulate at the front end, and make it okay to say, this is what I want and need, this is what I don't know how to do, this is what I need help with, and what can I do in return for you? What do you need to make this work appropriately? If you can do that, you're going to attract more quickly and more readily those investments, those relationships, and those people that are going to help you in the areas that you are not good at. And the areas that you are good at, in turn, you can give back. And that's how the relationships, that's how the formation and the foundation of a cool little business family like Syndicate can start to create something very different than the sum of the business owners that are its parts. Now, if you focus from yourself to what makes you better at your job, to the business, to your relationships, and you're articulate everywhere, what you add to the outside will contribute to the success in the middle. So I implore you, as you move into 2021 and as we continue to face a pandemic right now and all of the not so good things that come in the form of business challenges, but the great things that come, as Kathy put it, changing the way we communicate with each other. Take the time to think about what it is you really want and need in life, and be willing to articulate with other people, because very likely you're going to find somebody responds to you, and in turn, it's going to make you better because of it. So on behalf of Ben and myself, our wayward partner, Ali, the Cyndicate family that's here, thank you for joining us on Make Better Business Friends, a Cyndicate Talk Season 2. It has been fantastic to share a little bit of heavy lifting at the front end, some information coming towards the back end that are going to help you make better business friends. Find that circle of people around you. And of course, come and join us at Cyndicate. You just heard what we stand for. You've heard members of Cyndicate here talk about it right now. They are people from different businesses, different walks of life, and different stages in success in life, but they're all willing to work together. And when you find your proximate circle, you find the opportunity to make better business friends, you will become better at business yourself. Thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you on our next Cyndicate Talks Season 2. Have a wonderful